be controlled versus being a man who goes around controlling people. Now, maybe I'm wrong and I'm an idiot for thinking that, but I feel like building guides to show men how to control women is a bit different. Just a little bit different than teaching men self-confidence and not to let other people control him.
He's helping men resist the slave programming. We don't need him around. We need to empty their brains so we can inject the slave programming and convince men to be eunuchs, because once you're eunuched, then you're not a threat.
I think I buy that. Because your message, I'm not the world's expert on...
Why should men be threatening? I disagree with the premise. They want to make men into eunuchs so that they're not a threat anymore? Okay. Okay. Sounds like a self-report. It's kind of like, have you guys seen those people who like talk about like dating strategy and they're like, women are prey, men are predators. And it's like, I'm sorry, I must have, did I hear that wrong? I'm sorry. What the fuck did you just say, dude? Like what? Huh? Uh-huh.
Your message, but I've seen a lot of it, and it's not...
It's specifically like I'm talking about those people who are like, the blue-haired SJW, the brightly colored SJW, they specifically dye their hair because it wards off predators. That's why no one's sexually attracted to people on the left. And it's like, okay, first of all, wait, we got to talk about something, okay? Okay? You're crazy. You're insane. You're insane to tell me that women on the left with brightly colored hair aren't attractive. You are absolutely deranged to tell me. Hold up. Pausers. This is someone that is unattractive because they have bright colored hair. You're just deranged. If you think this is unattractive as someone that is attracted to women, I do not trust your judgment even a little bit. Oh my God, this emote is so cute. Binoculars. Anyways. Okay. Anyways. All right. You're deranged. You're deranged for starters. Second of all, I had to talk about that. But second of all, what did you mean?
You should show us some more examples of brightly colored hair havers that we know whom to look out for, people shy.
Shut the fuck up. But second of all, something else that we need to talk about, okay? What did you mean that the brightly colored hair wards off predators? Why are you suggesting that men are predators? Like innately that men are predators. Because there are some men that are predators. There are also some women that are predators. Some people are predators in the way that they prey on people who are weaker than them or that they can take advantage of. Yes. But what did you mean by like the generalization that men are predators? Also, warding off predators sounds like an evolutionary progress. Yeah. It's just a self-report. You know what I mean? It's just a self-report when you say that shit, man.
Explicitly political, actually.
No, it's not political at all. And their original attack before this Matrix attack is they weaponized virtue, which is what they usually do. There's no genuine virtue inside of these people. They weaponize virtue. They find a virtue and they turn it into a bullet and they shoot at you. I'm sure you know very well.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, that's really stupid. They find a virtue, they turn it into a bullet, and they shoot it at you. Hold up, let me load up my Glock real quick. 1 second. Let's see, list of virtues. Let's see what Google pulls up as like virtue. Oh, what are the 7 holy virtues? Humility, charity, chastity, gratitude. Hold up, let me shoot you with my chastity gun really quick. The chastity bullet and my chastity gun really quickly. Let me shoot you with my humility bullet. 1 sec.
I've heard.
Yeah.
Okay, like that would be okay. To whatever studio makes Devil May Cry, that would be actually a really cool like legendary weapons to put into your game, by the way. Like fighting demons and having like magic bullets that are like the 7 fucking holy virtues. That would actually be cool, not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Okay, back to Tucker's Joker laugh.
I was a misogynist for the longest time just for saying that men should have standards. If you tell a man he can have standards in a relationship in any way, you're a misogynist. It's actually very interesting because
What does that mean to have standards in a relationship?
But this
So bizarre. Oh my god. Chat, in case anyone hasn't said it, okay? Everyone is allowed to have standards in life. You should know what your worth is and what your value is, okay, chat? And you should constantly strive to be the best version of yourself. And you should find other people that are like that, okay? Regardless of your gender. Your gender does not matter at all. Literally at all for the topic. If you know that you are someone that's like, you're willing to talk through things, you have good conflict resolution, you know, you can cook a fire dish of your choice, some steak or something or whatever. Like you have things that are valuable, right? That make other people happy, that make you happy. Yeah, of course you shouldn't settle. But also that's just the same is true for everyone. That's literally the same is true for everyone.
is the thing that's so interesting about it, because they've gendered the argument when I never did. I said as a man, you shouldn't have a girlfriend who is a liar and a cheater, and you also shouldn't have male friends who are liars and cheaters. You shouldn't be around dishonest people,
yes,
male or female.
Amen.
And they gendered it and said, he's a misogynist. He's saying that men should only act this way with women, etc. I said that men should have standards, and you should have protocols that you're prepared to accept, and you should have hard parameters. And if a woman doesn't want to adhere to those parameters, that's her decision, and it's her prerogative, but you don't have to stay with her. Why should you?
What's wrong with that?
Well, that's teaching men to say no. They don't want men to say no.
So are you arguing that it's better to be with a virtuous woman?
I think so, yes. I know that's crazy.
No, I'm serious. I mean, that seems
I
like
am, Tucker. I don't want to.
That seems like good advice.
I don't want to come across as extreme, but yes, I am. And what's actually funny is I really believe most of the things I'm saying were.
I really hate Tucker Carlson's laugh. Oh, every time he laughs, it like causes me psychic damage. I have to roll a fucking 1d8, dude. It's not good. It's really not good.
Accepted by absolutely everybody 15 years ago, 10 years ago. And now it's public enemy number one. And it's because of the mass influence I have. At one point, I became the most Googled man on earth. At one point. And it's a scary situation I'm in.
But if you're arguing that it's really important for a man to find a good woman, a decent woman, an honest woman, that's the truest thing that's ever been said. I
Absolutely.
mean, that's the most important thing any man can do. I mean, I can just tell you firsthand.
Oh, thank you very much.
Married 32 years, that's the most important thing. And you think saying that angered people?
Absolutely, because I'm arguing the only way to do that is via masculine excellence. I'm saying.
Oh my God. This is like 40 steps removed. That's crazy that he brought on like a literal human trafficker and rapist. And he's like, so let me get this straight. People are prosecuting you, Andrew Tate, guy who's never done anything wrong, because you think people should date honest people. Unbelievable. unbelievable what the world has come to nowadays. It's like, where did anyone ever say that you shouldn't date someone that's honest? I feel like that's relatively intuitive. You should try, chat, to be the most honest version of yourself. That when you talk to other people, you do your best to not lie as much as you can. And you should try and date someone that you know wouldn't lie to you either. That's like, this is like therapy 101. This is like the very first thing you like, I feel like you would cover. Ever. This is not groundbreaking information.
In the world we live in today, it's hyper competitive. And if you want to be the kind of man that has the choice of women to choose a good one, you need to be an excellent man. It's no longer acceptable for you to just be an average Joe or below average. You have to get up and you have to work hard and you have to be smart and interesting and you have to be charismatic and make some money and be in good shape and you have to try very hard. And unfortunately for them, if you follow that path as a man and you become successful in those realms, you end up being the kind of person who resists enslavement. You become the kind of person who wakes up and says, no, I don't believe in that. That doesn't make sense to me.
I can't imagine a better message than that.
If you want a good society. So then you have to argue and sit and say, do these people want a happy, functioning society or do they want something else?
What do you think?
I think that I would never kill myself. And I also...
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. And I also think that when you...
Oh my God, that was such an awkward exchange.
When you want to conquer a society, you kill the military-age males. That's what you do. That's the first thing they've ever done. They walk in and all the men have to have their throats cut. They can't perhaps do that, but they can certainly cut your balls off. And then you can't resist. And I think there's certainly a movement to ensure that there's very little resistance left inside of the number one demographic which is required to resist oppression, which are military-age males. And they don't want those kind of people waking up with any kind of self-respect.
I'm sorry, is there some mass castration that's occurring in the United States that I'm unaware of? No, I hate penis inspection day. I hate castration day. I hate ball castration day. This is my least favorite day of the week. What is going on? I don't think anyone is going after anyone's balls, as far as I know. I mean, yeah, circumcision is around, but that's not what he's saying. He's saying like something completely different. Is he talking about metaphorical balls? Or is he speaking literally? I don't...
respect or standards, or to say, no, I don't accept this. I do not need a 9th injection. They don't want that. They want you to sit and say, I don't need it, but the news said so, oh well.
Okay, so he's saying like men today are sheeple that get vaccinated. Okay. First, they took my foreskin, and I said nothing. Then they took my balls, and I said nothing.
So in the one interview that you and I did, you had a line that I've been thinking about ever since. I thought it was so interesting. I never thought of it before. You said that a lot of people went along with the vax, and that you didn't judge them because facts change. But now that we know that a lot of what we were told was wrong and some of it was a lie, it is a requirement of your own dignity, of your own self-respect to say so.
Completely. And people should apologize. I really do believe. And I have nothing against the people who fell for the propaganda, fell for the programming, and took the vaccine.
Yes, I agree.
Fine. But you should wake up and say, I was fooled. I've learned my lesson. I will not be fooled again.
Tucker, you are literally vaccinated. Tucker, in order to work at Fox News and show up to work every day, you had to be vaccinated. My brother in Christ.
Again. But if you were fooled by the MSM and took the injection and you continue to be fooled and you've not self-reflected and you've not realized that they lied to you the entire way and you now believe the new bunch of lies that are all over the television, then there's something wrong with you.
Or you don't care that you were lied to.
You don't care that you were lied to because I think a lot of this is actually genuinely cowardice. I think it's a very easy worldview. The life is easier if you accept the news tells the truth,
Yes.
Everything they want me to believe is
Fool
true.
me once,
Everything's
shame
nice
on
and
you.
simple.
Fool me
Good guys,
twice,
bad
take my balls.
guys, doop-de-doop-de-doo. And if you want to actually wake up, it takes a degree of bravery, because then you have to destroy your entire worldview, everything you've ever understood and everything you're told, and you have to really look at the world and go, oh, this is a mess. And that takes bravery. And once again, that's why they don't want men to be brave. They want you to sit there and go, oh, it's easier if just, CNN said, so it must be true. And it's cowardice. And they're trying to instill cowardice in all of us. That's what they're trying very hard to do. And I think even just me as a person, the people who hate me, my detractors who dislike me so much, even if I say nothing, I just turn up, big, bald, strong, fast car. It's just me. I'm like...
Big and bald. Big and bald, brother. Amen. Amen. Who pulling up big and bald?
the enemy to them, because I symbolize men who don't comply. And not don't comply in a negative law-breaking way, but don't comply if we don't agree with that or we don't see common sense in that, we're going to politely decline. And that's simply not allowed.
What's it like to have the prospect of prison hanging over you?
I think that I like to believe that this is a test from God. I like to believe that if you become the most Googled man in the world for saying that you have mental resilience, that God is going to make sure you don't have that degree of fame without testing you.
Oh my God.
I like to believe.
Okay. Please, I'm begging. You guys have seen that Timmy Turner meme? Please, oh my God, please get Andrew Tate in prison for 10 years. It would be so fucking funny. It would be so funny to hear the new. You know what you could do? You could run like a meme song. Here, chat. If anyone here wants instant Twitter likes, I will tell you what to do. Okay, wait until he gets actually convicted of human trafficking or rape or any of the charges. Okay, and then play like "Tell Me Sweet Little Lies" or like any other meme song. And then overlap it with like an echoing version of him saying this. Oh, I think I skipped ahead.
You don't care that you were lied to.
You don't care that you were lied to because
You don't.
it's cowardice.
Here we
It's
go.
cowardice. And they're trying to instill cowardice in all of us.
He's also insanely bald. He is very bald.
That's what they're trying very hard to do. And I think even just me as a person, the people who hate me,
I
my
went back too
detractors who
far.
dislike me so much,
There's no good seeking on Twitter videos. I don't know if you guys know.
even if I say nothing, I just turn up, big, bald, strong, fast car. It's just me. I'm like the enemy to them, because I symbolize men who don't comply. And not don't comply in a negative law-breaking way, but don't comply if we don't agree with that or we don't see common sense in that, we're going to politely decline. And that's simply not allowed.
What's it like to have the prospect of prison hanging over you?
Okay, right here.
I think that I like to believe that this is a test from God. I like to believe that if you become the most Googled man in the world for saying that you have
Anyways, I'm just saying, okay? Having him, asking him a question and being like, well, how do you feel about this? And it's like, yeah, well, I'm gonna be fine. I believe God is setting this up as a challenge for me. Oh my God, please imprison him for 10 years because it would make this interview so funny because it would prove that God is not standing with this guy. It would be so fucking funny.
to throw me into a jail cell, I think I should handle it like a man. I think I should stay and finish the process, and I should walk with my head held high and suffer as much as I need to suffer to stick by my convictions and know that I'm an innocent person. And I refuse to break. I refuse to cry. I refuse to be depressed about it. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to smile regardless. And regardless of what happens to me, I want everyone to know that, one, I would never kill myself. And two, I think that as a man, there's always going to be a degree of pain and suffering in your journey. I don't think you're ever going to become a successful man or be good at it.
He's brought up like 2 or 3 times that he's not going to kill himself, which makes me think that something happened in prison that really broke this guy. That either A, he totally is going to kill himself, or B, someone in prison is waiting for him to come back so they can suicide him with 2 bullets to the back of the head. So that he can be like, hey, just so you know, if I suicide myself, it wasn't me. I feel like it's one of these 2 options. He's just saying that because he thinks he's Epstein. But earlier they were making fun of people associated with Epstein.
Being a man without pain and suffering. And there's many times in my life where something terrible happened to me, and at the time, if I could change it, I would have. But retrospectively, you kind of look back and go, you know what, that was formulative for me.
That's right.
That is what God decided I needed to become who I became. So all of the pain and all the suffering I've ever gone through in my life ended up, in the end, building me into the person I am, and I'm proud of who I am. So if God decides I need to go back to a Romanian dungeon for however many days, then all I can do is accept it and accept his plan and accept that it's going to make me a better person and
So
deal with
you
it.
see the hand of God in your life?
Absolutely. I think that he is the best of planners. And like I said, if you retrospectively analyze all the times in life you wish you could have changed things,
Yes.
he knew better. And I'm going to have to accept that.
When did you conclude that?
God, it is so insane to pretend to be virtuous and to pretend to believe in God. Meanwhile, you're literally a rapist.
I guess I always kind of knew. I was atheistic for a while when I was younger. But as you get older, you start to look at the world and understand that the thing for me was actually, I guess, a scientific principle. It was Newton's law of equal and opposite force. If there is evil in the world, and I'd like to think we both agree there certainly is,
Yes.
there has to be an equal and opposite force, which is good. And I would like to think that that is God. Even the idea of God as a notion, even just as a concept, if that idea of God resists evil, then God is real. If you have 2 islands, you have 2 people, let's say a ship crashes, and you have 2 people who swim to 2 different islands. And one island, they're atheists, savages, and they rip you apart. And the other island, you get there and they believe in God and they believe they're not allowed to kill you. Even just their idea of God saved your life. So I think even just the concept.
I feel like some things need to be corrected here. We're at 34:20. Let's try and get the seeking on this is really difficult, guys. So I'm being so brave. Okay, let's be real. If there were 2 islands and one of them had atheists and another one had some like theocrat in power or something, okay? The atheists would not rip you apart, okay? The atheists would be so fucking insufferable and annoying anytime you asked any question that you're gonna wish they ripped you apart instead. Okay? That's what would happen. I just need to clarify this really quickly. Because on the atheist island, you would get on there and you would be like, oh, thank God I found civilization. And they'd be like, actually, there's some guys, it's very unreasonable to think that they're even. You're like, just kill me. Just fucking kill me. I changed my mind. I changed my mind. Just please, I can't live like this. I can't live with you people. Okay, that's what would happen. That is what would happen.
And one island, they're atheists, savages, and they rip you apart. And the other island, you get there and they believe in God and they believe they're not allowed to kill you. Even just their idea of God saved your life.
Also, 1 second. It's insane to me that you need a 2,000-year-old book to know that murder is wrong. Like, I thought we all knew that already. I thought we all were in agreement that killing other people is wrong. I didn't think any of us needed a book to tell us that, okay? But maybe I'm wrong. Okay? Maybe I'm wrong. Listen, don't get me wrong. Don't get me mistaken. Don't get it twisted. When I load up my RimWorld save, you better believe I am harvesting organs from people who just asked for 400 silver. Okay? You better believe that. However, it's different, okay? All right? You monster.
So I think even just the concept of God in and of itself, if enough people believe
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
makes them
You got to make those human leather hats, okay? Just think about it, chat, okay?
good, then God must be true. And that's the equal and opposite force to the evil of the world. And this is how I view it. So I don't see how anybody with a conscience cannot believe in God anymore.
That's such a profoundly different worldview from the one that we're presented with, I think. Yeah. Do you think that's maybe the division in the West between people who see those forces at work and those who don't?
I think the West is actually split between people who think and people who don't think at all. I think the people, there's no such thing as these two opposing worldviews. I think people believe there's worldview A and worldview B. I disagree with that. I think there's worldview A, the good guys, which are primarily people who do believe in God, do have parameters, do believe in standards, do believe in self-respect, do know how to say no. And there's worldview B, which changes day by day, based on what they're told.
It's crazy that he can like directly insult his own audience and they have no idea he's talking about them. Because we all are in agreement here. If you are an Andrew Tate fan and you just believe every word that comes out of his mouth, you are literally the person he's talking about, the NPC that's incapable of thinking for themselves. You listen to Andrew Tate describe something, he says, no, I'm not a rapist. No, I'm not a human trafficker. No, I don't organize a crime ring. Some people went on TikTok. It's like, and then you take him at face value for that. That's because you are incapable of thinking for yourself, right? It's insane to me that he can insult his own audience and they have no fucking clue. I just want to stick a plunger on his head. That would be so fucking sick.
Which means they have no real worldview at all. They just repeat. And they have no standards and they have no parameters. There's nothing you can tell them that will make them wake up and go, that's wrong. Because they have no inherent morality. So you can literally, you can say bestiality is accepted and encouraged now. It's good for you because for climate change. And they'll sit there and go, oh, for climate change, oh, well, off we go. And they'll just do it. So I think you have a
What? Okay. No comment.
camp of people who think, and you have a camp of people who repeat. And I don't think there's actually the opposing side to the good, I don't think function as a thinking populace at all. I think they simply repeat.
It feels like the conflict between those two groups is getting more intense.
It's certainly getting more intense, and it was interesting for me because, and I want to be an optimist, but I lost so much faith in humanity during COVID. If you would have told me how COVID would have gone down before COVID, I'd say no way. We're not that bad. I thought the people aren't that dumb. But when I experienced COVID, it's actually scary. You see how the Nazis managed to do it.
All right. I agree with him, but for the completely opposite reason. I never thought I would find myself agreeing with Andrew Tate, but here we are. And I do agree. Before COVID, I was like, people are mostly rational. And after COVID, I was like, holy shit, propaganda is so fucking effective. I can't believe half of our country thinks that the vaccine is going to give you autism, trans, or a microchip. Or is going to like sterilize you and make you magnetic. You could not have convinced me of that before COVID. Like, before COVID, if you told me that would happen, I would have been like, that's funny. That would be really funny if everyone just thought that like the vaccine was going to like give you autism. That would be really, that is pretty funny. And that it actually happened and people were going around to like public forums being like, look at what the vaccine has done to me. You see, may I bring Exhibit A to the stage? 1 bobby pin. Notice how it's, that's actually an accurate rendition because usually the spoon or the quarter falls at least once. Notice how it's standing there. It was there for 3 seconds because of the magnetism, because of the 5G from the vaccine. Do you guys remember the TikTok of the lady that put a quarter on a steak? It was like, you know, when you go to the store and you get a steak and it's already pre-wrapped in like the saran wrap. And if you put anything on saran wrap, it sticks. And she flipped it over and she was like, oh, look at this. Even the meat has been vaccinated. It's like, oh my God. No, this is fake. No, this is fake. And then you meet people in your personal life that are afraid of the vaccine. And then you're like, no, this can't be. No, this can't be. This can't be. Please, no. Please. Please. Because I've met people who haven't gotten vaccinated because they're the laziest motherfuckers on the planet. I was like, asking, I was like, do you guys get vaccinated? And they're like, no. I'm like, why? And they're like, well, I work from home and I don't really feel like doing it. And I'm like, okay. I prefer that, I guess, than you thinking the vaccine gives you a microchip, I guess. But, okay. At least you're still in reality. Okay, fine. The only okay answer, TBH? Yeah. My brother-in-law won't get vaccinated because he's young and healthy. Oh, my God. Insanity. I got the first 2 and then realized there was no reason or basis to get the 3rd or 4th or any further ones. Yeah, I mean, because of how the vaccines work, their efficacy rate goes down as time continues. So you really should kind of only be getting them prior to like a vacation or something. Like I got, I told you guys about this. I got the booster shot for, I think like Omicron or something right before TwitchCon. And I hung out with people who got COVID. Like on the last day of TwitchCon, I hung out with people who later got COVID. Like I was eating dinner with these people. We're like laughing. We're like talking. Definitely should have gotten sick. We come back. Like I come back to LA. They go back to their state, country, whatever. And they're like, oh, I got COVID. And I'm like, wait, I didn't get COVID. Puggers! So fucking yeah, like boosters definitely work. I think they're the most effective in the first 2 or 3 months.
I actually got all the vaccines, including teacher Chinese and Cuban ones. I am now immortal. I went around the New York subway and hit everyone's spit in my mouth, and I didn't get as much as a sore throat.
Hi, Collider. Thank you for the A-Mons.
What they did. You see how they managed to put people in concentration camps. You see it. And I had a very unique view of COVID because in the first days of COVID, when people were falling over in China and the Italian hospitals were overrun, at the height of the panic, when most people believed, because it was the very beginning, early stages, my brother and I had a very logical conversation and said, we're two military-aged men in very good physical condition. If we die of this, the world's over. If it can kill us, it's zombie apocalypse. So why are we going to live in fear? So we found the only two countries that were open, which were Sweden and Belarus. We had just been to Belarus. This is before the Ukraine war. We'd just been there. We decided to try Sweden. So for the first 3 months of COVID, during the height of lockdowns, when Florida was closed, when it was
I remember.
Yeah, when it was the craziest lockdowns globally, me and Tristan are in Sweden in absolute freedom. They had no restrictions, no masks, no vaccine passports, no social distancing, nightclubs are full, restaurants are open, perfectly complete normal society. Nobody talks about this anymore. Nobody talks about, wait, Sweden never did a thing. Everything functioned perfectly fine the entire time. And they don't have it. Where's their mass? Where's their illness of their winter of severe illness and death?
Yes.
They never had one. It's a cold country. Never had one. So we were living in Sweden, living completely normal lives, seeing the internet and seeing this insanity. And we're like, well, surely if we just put up a few videos of us partying in Sweden in nightclubs, this will wake people up. People ignored their own eyes. That's the scariest thing about everything, is that they can get to a level where, with the media machine, where people will genuinely ignore.
The Delulu is crazy. Bro, the Delulu is crazy. Also, Sweden had like 10 times the deaths of any other Nordic countries because of their COVID policy. First of all, correct, yes. A lot of people died in Sweden because of that fucking stupid ass policy in relative to the other Nordic countries around it, first of all. Second of all, I woke the fuck up once I've shared the story many times. I woke the fuck up once I visited a friend and she had caught COVID before the vaccines became readily available. And she still needs to use an inhaler to this day. So she got COVID like January 2020, and it's been 3.5 years, and she still needs an inhaler. She doesn't have asthma. She's never needed an inhaler before. And that was like a wake-up call for me. I was like, oh shit, this is real. Like, I need to take this seriously. And then I think I got COVID like 2022? I think I got it last year. I might have gotten it once or twice. I don't really remember. And then I was fine, actually. Like, I think I had a little bit of like brain fog for like a month later after that. And then that was fine. And I was basically back to normal. Obviously, I have no way of knowing if there was any internal scarring, because I did see some people who felt like they were fine, but their like lungs got internal scarring equivalent of like a smoker who's been smoking for 10 years. But yeah. Have you seen the physics girl stuff? Like, that should wake people up. You would think it would. Florida half closed for less than 2 weeks. Way to spew talking points, Mr. Think for yourself. Yeah. I quit my job precisely when the pandemic started. If I didn't do it, I probably wouldn't be alive right now. It was always susceptible to sickness, so I'm pretty sure unvaccinated COVID would have killed me. I mean, probably, yeah. I lost my taste for a month. That's so sad. I had COVID in November of 2020 and my lungs have never been the same. Yep. The clotting factors of this COVID strain was like unprecedented. So, yeah, people should have woke the fuck up. I agree with you, Andrew Tate. But they should have woke the fuck up once they realized just how detrimental it was to your health to catch COVID.
For their own eyes. I don't understand how you can get people so brainwashed that they will see that the sky is blue, and then they'll watch that the sky is green, and then they'll look at it again and go, the sky's green. It's crazy to me, but COVID proves they can do that. And that's why the war is getting so intense, because the principled people are saying, how can you still believe in the things that you're saying? Here is all the logical empirical evidence that that is a lie. But these people are ideologically brainwashed and they don't want to take enough. They don't have the bravery it takes to wake up and accept that they're being lied to. So they'd rather just, to the end of time, repeat what they're told. And it becomes more and more intense as it becomes more and more ridiculous. That's so scary. As it becomes more and more ridiculous, the more intense both sides get.
Yes.
Right? So what the future holds, I'm not entirely sure. But I like to believe, even my current charges, I found solace when I was in jail, that the thinking people are looking at this going, something about this doesn't seem right.
Well, I mean, it is a little bracing. I mean, when I discovered, I was sympathetic to you already. But, a man's accused of human trafficking. It's worth finding out what he's accused of. Sure. And when I discovered that there was no actual human trafficking charge, that's not actually human trafficking. I don't care what you call it.
Yep.
You weren't buying it, even accused of buying and selling anyone. Then the next conclusion you inevitably reach is they don't like the guy. They don't like his views. It's fine. They're going to send him to jail for that.
Yep.
That does seem like an escalation.
Me when I lie. Me when I lie. Can someone please inform Tucker's audience that he's literally lying? Oh my God, dude. Call it placebo, but I've been wearing a mask up until today, and I've never had COVID, let alone been sick from a cold since March 2020. Dude. Also, hi, Tamam. I literally didn't get sick for 3 years straight because of the mask mandates. And I got a cold, was it like last month or the month before that? And I'm pretty sure that's just because people have become more lax. I used to get sick at least once a year. Sure is weird that during COVID, when everyone was wearing masks, I never got sick. And I think the 2 times I got sick, I got COVID. Actually, I don't even remember if I got COVID once or twice. One of the times was because I went outside and there was fucking children coughing on me. And that sucked. And if I had been wearing a mask or that kid had been wearing a mask, probably wouldn't have caught COVID. I still wear mine. I love the incognito look. Honestly, based. Human trafficking is based on him coercing women to move in with him and making it hard for them to leave, correct? I'm pretty sure he's literally admitted to taking away their passports.
Absolutely. But if they don't like your views and you're inspiring millions of people to resist slave programming, you become a threat. Like, they discuss me.
But you can't send a guy to jail because you disagree with him.
You shouldn't. But even before I went to jail, the members of parliament in the UK were talking about me and what a dangerous role model I am for young boys. So they launched this initiative inside of British schools to ban me. My name can't be said inside of any British school. And members of parliament were standing up in parliament saying, Andrew Tate is dangerous. He's encouraging young boys to have misogynistic views, because I'm literally telling young men to go to the gym and to stand up for themselves and believe in themselves and believe in something. And by extension, you look at some of the sexual education books these children are being given, which I believe at age 9, I don't think a child needs to learn about anal sex or any of these things.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. So they're pushing that to the children, but I'm banned.
Well, they're also pushing weed and video games.
What's with this strange weed and video game obsession? Call me greasy. Thank you for the prime
I'm
sub.
being accused of the crimes I committed and admitted to doing online and in interviews. Mods, help, I spill my juice.
Classic moral panic, yeah. It's not our fault that oh my. Gotta put that marijuana down. It's not my fault that video games are just more fun when you're high, okay? It's not my fault. It's not, you know what I mean? I feel like it makes, okay, maybe this is just me. Okay, maybe this is me. Maybe it's just me. But any stoner gamers, rise up and chat. I basically only get high nowadays to play video games. Like once a week, I've got like my day off where I have like a few hours to just chill and play video games. And I'm like, oh yeah, let's enjoy this. And I get just really high and I'm like, oh shit, this game is so much harder than I thought it was. It's like, have you ever tried like fucking playing an ARAM when you're fucking high as balls and you're just like... I saw about 5% of that team fight. I lost my character about 5 times. Okay, time to come back from base. Dude, Overwatch is crazy when you're high. Overwatch is like fucking stimulation like overload. I think I played a league game, or like I was playing a couple league games, And then we moved over to Overwatch and we played an Overwatch game. And suddenly it was really fast. I was like, oh my God, I can't. Oh God. Oh God.
Games on boys.
Oh, completely. And you can listen to rap music about killing people all day long.
Also, sorry, let's just talk about something really quickly. I want to talk about something really quickly. I disagree that you are allowed to tell people, hey, yeah, feel free to get a beer after work on weekends with your friends or whatever. But weed is like this scary thing. Like, fuck off, dude. In my eyes, there is absolutely no difference between getting high on your Friday night or your Saturday night and getting drunk on your Friday or Saturday night and hanging out with the boys. I see nothing wrong with that. I see nothing wrong with enjoying weed that way. If you find yourself like wake and baking every single day of the week and maybe you are not being productive, you know, like maybe you're not in school or working or doing the things you want to do, basically, right? Yeah, I would say that that's irresponsible, but I would call that the same level of irresponsible as like day drinking every single day. You know? Like if you wake up and you're like, okay, time to drink. Time to do nothing all day, every single day. It's like, okay, maybe this is a bit much. I see nothing wrong with doing that on like a fucking Saturday, like Saturday mimosas for brunch. Oh yeah, go for it. Or like, you know, like a Saturday or a Sunday wake and bake. Yeah, it's your day off. Enjoy it. But if you find yourself frequently doing that, like every single day you're wake and baking and you're just not doing the things you want to do in the day. Like you have like a list of things. You're like, I want to go to the store. I want to do this. Like I want to work on this thing. And you're just not getting to that stuff. Yeah, maybe you're over consuming. But like all things in moderation. You know what I mean? All things in moderation. Skill issue. I graduated with a 3.4 wake and baking. But that's my point. I'm saying if you're struggling to do the things you want to do, it might be because you're wake and baking. If you're wake and baking and you're fine, you're going to your job, no problem. You're working on whatever you need to work with. Yeah, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. I don't see a problem with that or whatever. But once you realize that like your consumption of a drug is inhibiting your ability to work on things that you want to work on. Like, I'm not talking about like capitalism brain. You have to be productive on during all hours of the day. I'm saying like you yourself, you're like, maybe you have an arts and craft project you want to work on. Maybe you want to install some shelves. Maybe you want to apply to like some job or something. And it's been like 3 weeks and you've done nothing. Maybe you have a little bit of an addiction. Okay. Maybe just a little bit. Conversation makes me want to hit. Yeah, go for it. It's about how it affects you. Yeah, exactly. Like if you're going from whatever is a good level of productivity for your brain, then sorry. If you're going from a good level of productivity for you to a bad level of productivity for you, then maybe we can cut back. On the real, I feel uncomfortable reading this publicly, but if I didn't have weed and I have video games during the pandemic, oh yeah. But there is such a thing as functional stoners. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's for sure. Okay, back to the video.
And there's a whole, and Lil Nas, he can have sex with the devil in his music videos. That's fine. But I'm dangerous for saying go to the gym. And once I realized what was scary to me is, I said this to my brother. I said, once the parliament's discussing you, you're basically considered a national security threat at this point. You're a threat to national security at that level. And then all bets are off, right?
You know what Lil Nas wasn't doing? Human trafficking.
What about the UK? So the UK has become more authoritarian than anywhere in the Persian Gulf.
Correct.
How did that happen?
Yeah, and it's, like I said, it's very interesting because the people in Camp B who don't think, a lot of them believe that the law is fair. I've had people say to me, oh yeah, what they're doing to you is garbage. Well, you need a lawyer. So yeah, I do need a lawyer and I do have a lawyer. Thank you. But it's not that simple. unfortunately. You know, the law is very subjective, and if they want to attack you with it, they're going to do a very good job of attacking you with it. And that's what the UK does. The UK have these laws which are extremely subjective, and they can use it as a weapon to basically silence anyone they decide.
But
or
why?
hurt anyone they decide.
England is the birthplace of free speech, of habeas corpus, of kind of framework of liberal democracy that we thought we believed in.
Yep.
And now it's a country where people are arrested for praying.
Well,
what happened?
I don't believe England is the birthplace for democracy, actually. I don't think democracy originated in England, actually. Isn't England like famously ruled by like, England was like famously ruled by monarchs for forever. There still are monarchs today, yeah, but like it's not famously. I'm pretty sure, what is it, like Romans, the Greek, had like the first democracy. And I'm pretty sure England literally ripped the French. I'm like 99% sure. I hope my history lessons aren't failing me. But a lot of the writers and the original, what would be the word? Pioneers that brought democracy and brought free speech and brought all these other things to the UK, they read French literature or they went to France and saw what France was doing and said, yo, we need some of this shit. Because France famously was like, what if we just took out the bread slicer? What if we just did a little bit of bread slicing? Just a little bit as a treat. A little as a treat. What if? What if? Just some bread. And the fucking British saw that. They came back to the UK, well, Great Britain, and they were like, yo, we need this shit here. So they actually stole it. Surprise. Great Britain stealing shit? No way. They would never do that, right? Right, guys? Right? Right?
Good question. And there's a saying that I heard, and I don't know who said it, but he said that a sick country adopts laws like a dying man will try medicine. And I think that the UK is failing in real time. If you look at it in any metric, whether it's living standards, whether it's crime rate, any metric you can measure the success of a country by, it's fallen off the cliff. It's becoming more and more expensive to live there. The education system's gone down the pan. London is the stabbing capital of the world. You're not safe to leave your house. So their answer to this is just more and more and more laws. And unfortunately, as they do that, they're not even intelligent enough to actually attack the people who are doing genuinely bad to the world. They just make more and more authoritarian laws, and they end up using them to attack the people that the government doesn't like. And I ended up being one of them. And I think Europe in general has problems. If you look at France as we speak, I think it's on fire, isn't it? Most of it?
It is.
Yeah. So they have issues. And their answer, what's a government's solution to anything? Law. What can a government do? No matter what.
But they're not laws that are aimed at fixing the problem that's right in front of them.
No, they're laws aimed at fixing the person who's talking about the problems. So why don't you get rid of the guy who tells everybody? Isn't that easier? Tucker? Why fix any of this? If we just shut him up, they won't know.
No, but that's like responding to a heat wave by breaking your thermometer.
Completely right. That's the plan.
It's insane.
Plan one is to break the thermometer. We might deal with the heat wave a bit later. But
get air conditioning. No, let's break the thermometer.
For now, there's too many people talking about the heat wave. So let's just break that. And then later on, maybe when we have time, we'll do something about the actual issue.
It does seem like a lot of this is...
Jesse, what the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about?
Is an effort not to talk about the real thing in Europe anyway, which is migration.
Yep.
And the UK...
Oh, yeah. Dude, it's not a Tucker episode without just a little bit of eugenics, a little bit of racism, and a little bit of Nazism.
Known as England and France have both been completely changed by people from other countries.
Yep.
and who I'm sure have added good things too. I mean, I'm not, you know, but they've changed them, and in general, they're not better countries. And like, why can't anyone admit that?
But this is what's really interesting to me about what's happening, because we're talking about masculinity and men who say no and men who stand up. But there has to be balance, right? Yeah. Everywhere in the world, there has to be power balances. If there's not a balance in power, there's going to be a vacuum, and that's going to be filled. If you neuter the native population of men, if you destroy their mentality to resist, if you tell them that every single thing about them masculine is wrong, and you basically feminize and unicate them, turn them into eunuchs, and then you import high testosterone men from the third world who don't believe any of this garbage, who grew up in a society where they understand the only way to succeed is to be a fearsome predator to a degree. What do you think is going to happen? Like, who's supposed to protect the sanctity of these nations and these settlements and these towns and villages? The police? No. In general, I would argue that it's the masculine essence that can be detected by the people who arrive. I guarantee if you were to put a bunch of these migrants in Sarajevo or...
What is he cooking? What is he What is that? I'm sorry. Maybe it's just dumb woman brain. I need to listen to that again because I'm genuinely confused.
Protect the sanctity of these nations and these settlements and these towns and villages. The police? No. In general, I would argue that it's the masculine essence that can be detected by the people who arrive. I guarantee if you were to pick up...
Okay. You really said, if you want to protect little villages, it's not the police that are going to do that. It's the masculine energy resonating from that village. That the people who invade are like, sniffer? Smells like 12-in-1 body wash. All right, boys. Next village. Like, what? Like, what? What is this? What is this? Genuinely.